Hey everybody, today I'm doing a slightly different video, something we haven't done on this channel before. So Matt sent me a game that he played about 9 years ago, and I know that it's a Caro-Kann. His opponent is rated about 2000 USCF, and I'm assuming he wins since he sent me the game. So that's all I know about it. This game was made before our Caro-Kann repertoire, so I wonder how close he's going to play into it in the opening. So let's take a look. What I'm going to try to do is what's called solo chess, was I kind of play through the moves, and every time it's Matt's turn to move, he has the black pieces. I'm going to try to guess what he's going to play, and we'll kind of score how I'm going to do. All right. So, okay, I know it's a Caro-Kann. So it's an advance. Let's see, d5 is going to take. Okay, so we'll take back. These lines are fun. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so after bishop d3, interesting move. I think the move is knight c6. Let's see if he plays it. Okay. I'm expecting c3 here, defending the pawn. And I think our Caro-Kann move here is queen c7. So let's see what he plays. Oh, look, he's playing this before the course even. Okay, now this is a testing move since it kind of takes away our good squares for the bishop. What I would play here is e6, bishop out, knight out, castle, and then play for f6 and e5 in the future. So let's see what happens. Okay, so he's just going to play it different than our opening course. Okay, so let's see if I can kind of figure this out. He's going for a fianchetto line. Okay. Sorry, Matt, I don't really like this very much because you're fianchettoing into these bishops, or sorry, into these pawns, and this isn't what I would go for. So we have in the Caro-Kann course, instead of playing these moves, we go for this move and then just kind of like leave the bishop behind the pawn chain and bring the bishop, our dark square bishop here, and then play for like f6, e5. Anyway, let's see how this continues. Oh, I see what he's going to do. He's going to bring up the bishop and trade that way. Okay. I'm kind of going over the opening a little more quick because I don't know what he's going to play. I think his opponent should probably take here, and we're just going to get an open G file. Interesting way to go about it. Okay. Rook E1. Okay, so this is where I think I'm going to start adding in my own moves. Or not adding in my own moves, but guessing what Matt's going to play. I bet he's going to take here because allowing this trade's a little uncomfortable, and I wouldn't necessarily want to allow this. So I think he's either going to take, or he's just going to keep developing and allow this take, and maybe he has some kind of like prep with the OpenG file. My first guess here is take. Okay, so Matt takes, and take back with the queen. Now, what to do with this bishop? It seems like he's committed to fianchettoing it, but I don't really like the idea of that. I bet he's going to play e6 here and actually bring the bishop to d6. Although that kind of just wastes the move g6. So maybe he's going to fianchetto here and go for e5. So my guess here is actually bishop g7. Okay, so he's going to fianchetto. White will probably try to develop the bishop. There's no real good moves for the knight. This isn't such a great square, and here blocks the bishop. So let's say bishop, I'll say either bishop e3 or bishop d2. I'm guessing e3. Oh, brings a knight up, okay. Totally fine move. You don't really want to take and allow him this big center. I think you can just ignore this knight, so let's castle. Okay, e6 first. Totally fine. Now this is a little unpleasant. So this is a nice move, actually. Knight out to get the bishop. I want to castle here, but then there's like knight discover takes that you want to be aware of. We may need to move the queen. If I had to guess, I would say queen b6 hitting this pawn. I don't think you want to take here and allow them to take this way. Doesn't seem right to me. Although maybe if you take, bishop takes is okay. Then you slide your queen over. And what are they going to take you? So I think I need to evaluate if taking pawn takes maybe like knight up is any good. Can they kick me this way? I don't hate taking, but I don't think it's the best move. I would probably play queen b6 here, and if they take, just take back. Can't castle. So my candidate moves queen b6 or capture. I think queen b6. I'm going to go over this game a lot quicker than Matt had. I think this is like standard game over the board, so he probably had 60 or so minutes. But these are my two options. Let's see what Matt chooses. Okay, I guess I should have seen that move too. That was actually one of the first things I said, but I didn't mention it. I don't really understand though, because they can just move the bishop back. Oh, but now there's a few different attackers on this pawn. Okay, I see the point here. So I guess we need to calculate if white takes here, we're going to take here. It's getting confusing. This is a nice move. You can see why I'm a much lower rated player than them. I want to actually do something, so I'm going to try to hide the moves, so I promise I'm not looking. You know, I don't think that's really going to work. So I was going to like go over my moves with an engine, but I like these two. These are the first ones that came to mind, so I'll come back to that in post-game analysis. Okay, so bishop needs to go somewhere. I don't think this capture works because you can capture here with the knight, and then the queen and the knight are both hanging. So I think the only move is to drop back. Yeah. And then probably take here. So take. I don't know, that just kind of becomes a strong pawn if they take. So maybe now queen b6? This is what I didn't like about this move, or at least why I didn't consider it too much, is because when the bishop drops back, they kind of still have all their pins and we're still not really ready to castle. Maybe you just want to take and get rid of a bad piece and claim you have a good knights versus a bad bishop. It's a pretty good bishop though, even though it's outside the pawn chain, but it is technically their dark square bishop. So my candidate moves here are taking this way, or just queen over. Okay, I need to have a guess. I would say, I don't know, because this bishop still does have some life. I'll say he takes with the knight. Takes with the bishop. Okay. He takes back. Here we should definitely take with the knight. He's going to take back probably with... Well, now I don't know. I think if he takes back with the pawn, I think both captures are okay. Maybe pawn is a little bit better, because yeah, you're still not really threatening that though. So the knight comes back here. Either capture is fine. It's not my move, so I'm not going to try to guess. Okay. Knight takes e5. I'm assuming castles, so it could be either way, honestly. Let's evaluate castles short. What about that move? We can just take here. Oh, this knight's like a little bit running out of squares if we go forward. It's like if g4 here. I'm just trying to evaluate, we castle queenside, how fast are our pawns coming versus castle kingside, you know, we're kind of in a stable position. So if we go queenside, I know you don't really castle queenside that often in the Caro, so I'm going to guess he castles kingside here, or maybe he takes some time to reroute his knight. Maybe even knight f6, but that can always come later. I bet castles. Castles long, okay, got me. So he must have evaluated that he liked our pawn storm a little better. Okay, I don't hate it at all. It is kind of hard for, you know, white to move these pawns up, I guess, and we do have a hook here, so yeah, I can see it. See what white does. Develops. Good move. This is kind of an annoying pawn break. So take, I don't know. If they push though, then this d pawn becomes really weak, so I'm not too concerned about it. What I want to do is start pushing our pawns. So I'm thinking about a move like knight f4, but I don't think it's that good because it can just get kicked, or even like queen over. So maybe we need to go knight g7 to start, and then you can start pushing these pawns. My first instinct is knight g7, and then bring the rooks over. This is kind of like an irritating pressure here on the knight. You can never, like, I don't know, it just looks a little flimsy here, and it's not doing much on the edge of the board. I think I would probably go knight g7 and start pushing. So my guess here is knight g7. Okay, I didn't think that was possible, though. Oh, if they take, we have this fork. Okay, so I wanted to play f6. I should have said that. But I figured it's impossible because we hang this pawn, but this fork comes in handy. Okay, so that's a handy move. Our pawns are coming fast, and I bet e5's coming soon, too. Okay, we still have this in mind. Can we play e5 right away? So take. I believe we can. My first instinct here is e5. I'm getting everyone wrong, guys. Okay. Knight f4, so this has been an idea for a while. Okay, so maybe he wants the knight here. He can't push because he loses this pawn with check, so maybe he just wanted the knight here, and then he can support it with e5. Okay, I don't mind it. And it's nice that the queen defends it too. So if a queen moves over, for instance, it's not under attack. All right, so now we cannot play this move. Because if they, oh wait, so let's do this. So take here. It seems to me like we just lose a pawn. So maybe support with rook e1 first. I like the look of rook e1. Like, does this move work? Take? Doesn't look like it. I don't see much else. I'd probably go rook e1 or maybe a different pawn push like g5. But it really looks like we want to play, obviously, on the king side here. So I'm looking at either rook e1 or g5. I think both moves are good. Maybe even h5. I think all those moves are good, actually. If I had to give this the position an eval, I would say black is better. I'd say like probably -1 if I had to guess. Okay, other rook to e1. Interesting, because I figured this rook would want to... Like, are we really happy with this rook on d8? It seemed like we wanted... It seemed like this d file is going to be closed. Maybe that's kind of preventing against this push. So if they push, we take, and now we have pressure on the d pawn. I bet that's what the idea was behind that move. But it looks like he does want to support e5. Okay, so rook over. I think it's time for e5 now. Here, take. We can't take. Okay, so I guess that is a problem. So here, maybe we just sidestep. I guess maybe we could take. So e5 is definitely like in the cards here, but I'm just worried about c4. So after, okay, let's say they get a move and get to go c4, we can no longer take because now our queen is pinned to the king. I really don't think we want to play a move like b5. I think maybe we play queen d6, or because we need to keep this knight defended. I'm thinking queen d6 here. Okay, e5. So I guess we're going to find out maybe what happens against c4. So far I'm like 0 for 10, but we're doing okay. So take, we're going to take back. If they push, I don't get it. If they push, maybe then just queen d. Okay, so take back with the f pawn. Take back with the rook. I'm getting all these wrong. Okay, I see it though, because We're maybe threatening a fork here too. Where's this queen gonna go? Here? We can trade. That doesn't seem quite right to me. I think I would rather take with the pawn. Maybe this pawn structure he just thought was a little too fragile. Because if we take back the pawn and he pushes, we can push past. Oh wait, no we can't. Oh yeah, we can. So like in here, if we take back this way, he pushes, we can push past. That seems good. I hope I didn't just mess up. Okay. Okay, so queen over. Probably now we want to double, I would guess. Oh no, we can't double because he takes... Nope, that doesn't work. So yeah, we can double tactically. I also want to play here, but it doesn't work. So I think rook DE8 would be my move. Okay. Just everyone wrong. This pawn is a problem, and there's no good way to defend it. So I wasn't even looking at this one. So probably G3, take... I don't know, this knight's kind of out of squares though. G3, take, king up. I think this knight is trapped there. I don't know, we can go back in that position because the king is take. So sorry, G3 takes here. And now they're in the kind of in the line of sight from our queen. I don't exactly see it. Let's see what they're gonna play. G4, okay. That kind of solves their problems. This is getting... Their king is very weak now. Of course, looking if like sacking here works, but it doesn't look like it. I'm looking at just F5 and just really chipping away. F5 really seems like the right move here. I don't think we're hanging anything. White doesn't really have any threats. It's got to be F5. This is the most confident I've been about a move. Got one. Got one, boys. All right. Are they going to push and allow this take? I'm guessing black is winning here. It just kind of happened so quickly. I think a stronger try was G3 here actually, because this pawn I don't think can be captured. But after G3 we can just chill too, because they're not threatening to capture. Okay, anyway. Queen over. Check almost works. Take, 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 but it's defended. I think take here and then H5. That just looks so good. Queen, this knight is pinned, but there's no good way to attack it. Rook can't really infiltrate here. Rook can't go anywhere, and our queen is defended. So I would take here and then play H5. Ooh, he pushes past. I just assumed to capture. Okay, that's probably a good move. Which way do we want to go with the rook? So we can't go here because they... Oh yeah, we can. Because we take with check, take the queen. We could go here and add a little pressure to the... Or just like add an extra defender to the knight. Or we can go here and put pressure on this pawn. Maybe that's a little better. Because this knight is nice and snug. It's not going anywhere. So any one of these moves seem fine to me. I wouldn't spend probably a ton of time. I think with the attack we have, we don't want to get pieces off the board. Like, we shouldn't be super excited to trade here. So maybe rook H5. Rook H5 captures. No, this pawn isn't even hanging because of this. So maybe because of that we want to go rook F5 and then secure the pawn with H5 and then push maybe. I'd say rook F5. Okay. Wasn't looking at that one, just poked myself in the eye. I'm not sure what this accomplishes, though. Maybe we're just trying to bank some time. I think we just come right back. Or maybe now we move over. Rook F5. Seems okay. Okay, we got 2. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we are offering a queen trade here. But this looks indefensible. This pawn is terrible. This pawn is terrible. Look how good our knight is. He has this check, but we just block. This looks winning, so I think a queen trade is good. Probably double up. I don't see how you can defend this pawn after we double up. Rook F8. I'm gonna go back and check to see why Rook F8 wasn't. Maybe this is even better. We can check. King can't really come up too far because we have fork threat. And so maybe he just wants to come here and double attack, put another attacker on this pawn. It's probably take here now. Take, take, take. This knight is dominated. Like, our pawns take away all their squares. Knight takes, interesting. I probably would have taken with the rook. And at this point, we'd be up 2 pawns with a nice passer here. This pawn's going nowhere. That looks winning to me. Knight takes is okay too. Well, yeah, knight's kind of coming into the game. I don't think this push quite works. No, I didn't make a guess, sorry. Yeah, doubling up looks great. Slightly annoying. So this is a threat, so we probably need to come back here. What about coming here, check anyway? Take, take. I guess it's just fancy trades. But yeah, we can't allow this, and our knight is hanging, so I think the only move here is a rook f6. Alright, that makes sense. Can't take because of check. I keep saying there's only one move, and then Matt finds a different move that's even better. So, yeah, I think this is like really bad trouble because I guess he can come here. It's probably the best move because here there's check and we just win a rook. So king here only move. Now what? So our rook is still hanging. This is still in the air. We back up 1. There's this check. Maybe we just go here and give this pawn. Maybe check, we come here. So I would still probably go rook f6, but maybe that's too slow. Okay, move later. So he inserted this check and got his knight a little more secure, so that's really nice. Okay, now that he's threatening this pawn, which is a little irritating. I feel like we just need to retreat and allow some trades. This is a little unpleasant because I don't see how we defend this pawn. I also don't see a way to attack these rooks with our knight position, so we don't have like a nice in-between move. We would just go here and hold the pawn. That's probably what I would do. Knight e4. Okay, that's a nice move too. So threatening this fork. Tricky. Yeah, so then after takes, then we just lose this pawn. Okay. So maybe not the best. H5 is what I would look for here to secure the knight. This rook is pretty badly placed, so I think like moving here just kind of helps him a little bit. So I'd probably go H4 and lock my knight in here on G4. Or sorry, H5. Okay, he goes for this. But his knight, or his rook kind of needed to move anyway. Maybe that's just a good square for the knight. Okay. Still a lot of game left. This is a tricky one. Okay, so we're in an endgame. We're up a pawn. I feel like we had a really good attack, and now we're just kind of like in a safe, better endgame. So maybe we could have improved at some point to keep the attack going. Because when Black's king was wide open, we had the queens on a knight, rooks in the vicinity. I feel like we didn't want to really trade down this far, because now we're in an endgame where it could just be zeros. But I feel like Black still has a little pull here. We probably need to start attacking weaknesses. So maybe, like I see this is a weakness and this is a weakness. So probably a good move here is knight c4. Just attacking this pawn. If they push, maybe we try to, go after this structure. So knight c4 maybe, best move. Check. Yeah, I don't really understand this move either, because yeah, the king can just move up, and now they're like a little bit more active in the endgame. King goes up, check. King comes here, kind of hitting this pawn. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Where does he want to bring this knight to? Maybe just back here? Plant the knight on e4? I'm guessing knight d6. Okay, rook over, hitting the knight. These moves are hard to guess because there's so many good moves. Maybe rook e4 here. Okay, pinning the knight. No, we can't take. Can we check and then take? If we take, there's takes. I feel like check. Like checking maybe looks right. Oh, we can't push either because takes, whatever. I feel like this check looks right to me. Hitting our knight. And probably just go knight c4. I don't see anything concrete tactically. This rook is kind of out of range from our knight. Yeah, bring the king up. Take back. Oh, did we just blunder a pawn? Why can't they take? I'm sure he saw this, because pushing here is a pretty solid move. Wait, not, yeah, here pushing would be fine. Oh no, it wouldn't. Take, take, take. So maybe this isn't the pawn. Maybe we just take? Are we just losing that pawn? What's wrong with taking? I need to figure that out in post game. What's wrong with taking that pawn? I really can't see why not. Take. I see nothing. Okay, now we're in a rook and pawn game up a pawn. Ooh, this has got to be winning. Okay. So, yeah, we will need to take this, take. If he takes here, he can still get back into the box. So, obviously, this is a take. If we go here, he can push and then take here. I don't think that's what we want. Probably still winning, though. But, yeah, this definitely looks like a winning endgame. So, take, here, take. And I don't think he's going to be able to defend this pawn and get here. So, pretty easy take here. And queen d5 looks like the move. Or, yeah, pushing first works. Now you need to go to king d6. And pushing here looks like it wins. Because there's no way to get back. Yep. Okay. And that's where the game ends. So, wow, what a game. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. Let's go back to these key moments and figure out where Okay, so I wonder what the opening book says here. After a6, lots of e5 even. e6 is what we recommend. Yeah, knight f6, good move too. All right, so I was wondering about here if he takes. Yeah, white's a little better. Okay, nothing substantial though. But he lets us take. We should be happy. think this is all pretty standard stuff. Okay, so I was looking at here or here, and it looks like the engine likes both of those moves, so that's good. Knight h5 I didn't like so much because they back up and we're kind of all the same. Yeah, and I wasn't entirely sure about bishop takes either because we're giving up a pretty strong bishop. Like all our pawns are on light squares, and maybe we can reroute out this way or even like around this way. Yeah, so I mentioned queen b6 here a few times. Yeah, I don't love giving up the bishop here. Yeah, I also wasn't sure about rook takes, so I was thinking pawn takes looked a little better. Castle's long. So again, queen b6 or castle's short the engine approves of, so I think I'm okay actually on a lot of these guesses. Oh yeah, so I really like the move f6. I didn't see it first because I didn't think it was going to be tactically sound, but takes here. So I was looking at rook e8, rook d8. So here the engine doesn't like it. Yeah, because this break is coming quick. Okay. Yep, and he finds a good move there, and then rook fe1. So I kind of criticized this move too, because I thought the other rook would be better placed here, but I see the point with not wanting this break to come in. Right, so e5. Again, I thought that maybe this move was a little irritating. So here, if they take... Oh, why is this so bad? Take, take, take. I guess we're just winning a pawn in the end. Oh no, we're up a rook. Wait, how'd that happen? Oh, right, because he takes our queen, we take back. Okay, never mind. I'm going crazy. All right, so instead of rook takes, yeah, I didn't even notice that this pawn was hanging. The opponent didn't play it, luckily. And yeah, I didn't see this move either. So what moves was I suggesting in this position? I think h5 or g5 or doubling. So what's wrong with doubling? It's fine, it's just not quite as good. There's still this tactic here. If they take, we have check. Instead of doubling h5, it's still okay, but not quite as good. Okay, so rook g5, just threatening this pawn is really good. And I thought g4 was actually a really bad mistake. Apparently he can just ignore it. This looks crazy. This is starting to make sense though, because take or check, he can win our rook. Oh, knight defends that square. Okay. So not looking so convincing. So after g4, yeah, we just get this super quick pressure. Takes, pushes. Yeah, I was looking at rook f5 here, I think was my first instinct, allowing this push. Plays knight check over. And I didn't want to allow the queens to come off here. This seemed like not the way that I would have gone about this position, but the engine likes this way just as much too. You can kind of see a difference in styles. Yeah, here I was just thinking of doubling, but he inserted this check. Oh yeah, this is a good move too, attacking this pawn. Here I was going to take this one with the rook. Engine likes both. Okay. And doubling. Let's see what other moves I had in mind. Yeah, so this is a nice move to kind of lock in the knight, but after knight back, it kind of seems like we just lose that pawn. Because we have to go knight back. In this position, I was talking about knight back, or rook back already. Yeah, so this is kind of all expected. I wanted to check here why we couldn't win that, or why we couldn't give that pawn away. Or sorry, I've been recording too long. I was wondering why we just gave that pawn. Like here, why can't white just take this pawn? Apparently they can. Ooh, and this is a blunder. Wow, that's a beautiful move. We can take here. Take, check. Wow. Good one. I bet Matt was getting low on his clock here, because he would see that one easy many times. G5 is still good too. Still winning. Take, rook here, force the rooks off, and this is just winning. Even this 1400 got this endgame right. I was gonna say here too, and if push, take, and if take, we can just like push and win this pawn. I'd probably go here first. And he's not gonna be back in time. Can even just do this so the white king can never get over. Awesome. Well, let me know what you guys think of this video. It was super fun to go over. A lot of my wrong guesses, the engine validated as okay, so that makes me happy. I hope I wasn't too like critical on Matt, because he's, you know, a master playing a great game against a really tough opponent. But yeah, somewhere around in here, white actually equalized. Should run a computer analysis just to kind of see it. But yeah, really tricky middle game. Yeah, here. It's tricky. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.